Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? Yeah, tonight's shower night. My face is healing pretty good. I think it's gonna be okay. I've had worse than this and it didn't scar me, so I think I'm okay. I got a little bit on the side, and I even got a little on my shoulder, but it's all just surface stuff. It didn't crack this. None of it cracked the skin, which is again evidence that I'm being protected, isn't it? Like I did when I got hit by Laquan or whoever his name was, and it didn't. It just so happened when he hit me, it was last winter, that I had a beard growth of like 5 days, so it kept it from really damaging my skin. And when it healed, it was as good as new. In fact, I kind of liked the feeling of it. Actually, it kind of made my left side of my face kind of more invigorated than before. And I think before, I feel better about my looks than I did before I got hit. Because for some reason I think the left side was smaller somehow, but when he hit me, I think it expanded it or something. I actually like it better now. Anyway, I'm going to do several topics on this talk. Thanks for joining me. I am going through my set list. I'm not doing it perfectly, but I'm doing it. It's a reminder for me what I'm doing and what I need to do at the parties. I'll really pull all the stops out at the parties. I'm not trying to do them perfectly here, but I'm doing them. My set list is here. If I show it to you, you can't read it because everything's backwards. So I can read it to you. It's Eruption, the Star Spangled Banner. I've documented Eruption and I've documented the Star Spangled Banner, so I kind of skipped that. But I'll tell you what I did do in a minute. Rate Me by Nirvana, which I did. Enter Sandman by Metallica, which I did. Back in Black by AC/DC, which I did. Next is Free Bird. I bit my tongue when I fell. That's why I'm having a hard time talking. Free Bird by Leonard Skinner. Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. That's page 1. And that's all that I need to do. That's all that was requested of me, except Welcome to the Jungle. I just kind of added on there. I think that fits good. Then I Don't Know by Ozzy Osbourne, Randy Rhoads. Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin. Running with the Devil and Eruption by Van Halen. That's what I did do. And it covers Eruption that I'm going to start with. Only I did it with Running with the Devil as well. You Really Got Me by Van Halen, Purple Haze by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Fire by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson, Ice Cream Man by Van Halen, and I'm Free by The Who. So that's my little song list. I'm going to go through, I'm blazing through it so that I'll get through it in no time. Because once I put my mind to something, it's like that's what I do. And I have Free Bird next, and then I'll be on with it until I'm all the way through it. And then maybe I'll do them all again. Maybe I'll do them all in one setting. Maybe I'll wait till the parties. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. Hard to say exactly what I'm going to do. I want to make this talk, it's a rant, but I want to make it about what I feel about physics and about the existence of God right now. And I'm not doing anybody any favors. I'm just not. I just don't do that. I call it like I see it. My dad taught me that. But I do call it like I see it. He taught me that. Turns out that the constants in physics are so fine-tuned. I mean, the cosmological constant governs how fast the universe expands. If it's great, it means it expands further, faster. If it's small, it means it expands slower. And it had to be just right within astronomical limits, like the amount that it could differ, the amount that it could vary from what it actually is, the cosmological constant, which I don't even know what the value is right now, but if that for the amount that cosmological constant can be different and still we are here, the chance how do I say this? I want to say it right. The amount that it can vary and still be okay to have life is percentage wise. So like let's say, percentage wise of it, the number that you're looking at to be in error of that, but then still have us still be here. The amount that's fine-tuned is a number that's 10 to the 120th power. That's 10 followed by 120 zeros. That's the amount of one in that is how much playroom you have with that number. Like if you change that number within 1 in 10 to the 120th, that's too much already. Do you realize how small that is? That's smaller than the amount of width of an atom compared to the whole width of the universe. It's a number so it's an amount so small that we can't even fathom it. For all we're concerned, it has to be just that. But in fact, it has to be that plus or minus 1 in 10 to the 120 power, 10 to the 120th powers, which is 1 followed by 120 zeros. It's more than a Google. A Google is 1 followed by 100 zeros. I've told about that. It was a scientist that was wanted to define what a Google was. He wanted to find he wanted to find what a 10 to the 100 power was. He didn't know what to call it, and his granddaughter said, "Call it a Google," and he called it a Google. So that's 10 to the 100 power is a Google, but 10 to the 120th is, I think it's a Google to the 20th power. So it's 20 times. No. It's a Google followed by 20s. It's a Google wait, let me think. It's a Google times. Okay, it's a Google times 10 to the 20th. So take a Google, however much that is, to 1 followed by 100 zeros, and multiply that by 1 with 20 zeros at the end of it. So basically a Google is a very, very small fraction of this number, 10 to the 120th. To 1 in 1 to 1 in 100 and to 1 in 10 to the 20th, which is itself a very big number. That's how many times a Google this number is that this cosmological constant has to be within, precision wise, to be for us to all be here. And it's just extremely unlikely that it all happened just naturally. I'm not trying to be religious because I'm really not the type, but the evidence shows that we were here by extraordinary ill likelihood, and Goldilocks like times a billion, more than that. Like everything had to be just right. Everything had to be cosmological constant I just mentioned has to be within 1 in 10 to the 120 power. That's 1 followed by 120 zeros. But that's not the only thing. There's a bunch of other things. There's a whole bunch of things. There's like the ratio of the diameter of an electron to the diameter of a proton is 1836. So a proton is 1,836 times bigger than an electron. Well, if that were different by any amount at all, no matter would exist. If the strong nuclear force, which is a conundrum for science already, because we don't know what causes a strong nuclear force. We don't know what keeps electrons and protons together. Neutrons and protons together in a nucleus when they should really fly apart from each other. All those protons together should actually repel each other, but for some reason they don't. We call it the strong nuclear force, but that doesn't mean we know what really causes that or what we're really dealing with. We just call it the strong nuclear force. But it not only turns out that that's necessary, it's necessary for it to be as strong as it is. If it were stronger, it would pull everything in and hydrogen couldn't exist, so we would have no hydrogen, so none of us would exist. If it were slightly weaker, it would expand too much and only hydrogen would exist. Bigger elements wouldn't exist because there wouldn't be enough gravity to hold them in, not gravity, but strong nuclear force to hold it in. So we have just the right strength of, not only do we have a strong nuclear force, which shouldn't exist, according to electromagnetic theory, all the protons should repel each other. But not only that, it's exactly the right amount it has to be to make up all the atoms necessary, elements necessary for life. So there's that. So I'm not trying to go off on a religious soapbox, but I'm just stating data that I know, and it's just facts that very likely we had a creator. This universe had a creator, very likely. it's becoming the lesser thing, the lesser evil, because to say that there's a creator, all you have to say is there's an eternal being. We can somehow let that go. That somehow passes. That somehow is possible. But for all of this to happen without a created being, eternal or no, and I guess in God's case, he's supposedly eternal, is astronomically unlikely. So very unlikely that all this came about. I mean, just by very unlikely, I mean just like zero. We can't even, the amount that cosmological constant can vary being less than the difference of a width of an atom compared to the length of the universe. We don't understand that. We can't deal with that. It's above our pay grade. For all we know, it had to have a creator. Now, what is this creator? Who is he? I don't know. Is he eternal? Perhaps. Maybe he had to be, because what made him? I don't know. Maybe he had to always be. I don't know. But then that's all we need to explain how we got here is easier. I mean, believe it or not, that sounds like the harder argument to take, but it's actually easier to think that than, once you know some of the dimensions involved, to think that it all happened just randomly, that nobody was responsible. People have looked at this and commented from all walks of life, not religious people. They don't count. They can say what they want, but not that they don't count, but they're going to say what they're going to say. But people like Bill Gates, my favorite computer programmer, said that the complexity of human DNA is more complex than anything that humans have ever designed, including his own Microsoft company that he co-founded. So something's bigger than him, and he's like the great programmer of our age. Something's bigger than that inside us that involves our existence. So just food for thought. I don't know what I'm learning myself. I'm learning a lot of this. I'm learning. I don't even know. I believe, it seems to me, that the Mormons are the only church that represent Jesus adequately, and if Jesus exists and God exists and all that, then there's something to that. I don't know. Does that mean I have to do this, or this, or I'm this, or this? Not really, but it's food for thought for me. And I take thinking seriously, because I was trained that way. So I'm getting closer to something that makes more sense to me, maybe. But then again, I'm taking it step by step. I'm not pushing anything, because I know myself, first of all. And I'm not trying to push anything on myself, but I'm letting you guys know my process. And actually, I'm reading the Book of Mormon right now. I'm reading 3rd Nephi 11. That's the crux. There's 15 books in the Book of Mormon, not counting the introduction, which I read tooth and nail. I read that every line. I wanted to get the gist of it before I started. There's 15 books, and I think, test me here, I think that 3rd Nephi is the 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me think. I think it's the 11th book of the 15. I could be totally wrong, but that means there would be 10 before it and 4 after it. And it's something. Wait, no, that can't be. There's 15, so it would be 10, 11. Yeah, 10 before it and 4 after it. That would be 15. Something like that. It's like 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's like the 11th book or something like that. And that's close. And the 10 books coming before it lead up to it, and then the 4 books coming after it kind of wind it down. But that's the basis of it. That's the crux of the book. That's what I'm starting with. And nobody's pushing me, but that's what I'm studying as far as my own spiritual stuff. I'm reading 3rd Nephi 11. If anybody has any ideas, let me know. I would appreciate a non-Mormon idea anyway, but whatever. That's what I'm doing. And it seems to make sense. Jesus would have an organization if he exists. Why would he just be willy-nilly? Why would he just have all these contradictory doctrines from all these churches that disagree? And I've checked out every important doctrine has a different interpretation depending on which denomination you choose. Okay, sounds like inconsistency. That something divided against itself doesn't stand. But I hadn't checked out the Mormons, and they were showing me love. It started with I won't say their names. I don't want to get them problems, but 2 sisters came up to me a few years ago and got me to come to a meeting. They sat by me the whole deal. And I jetted for, I maybe went to 1 or 2 and then jetted for 6 months and came back because some dudes came up to me on the street. I saw the sisters a couple times later, or I saw different sisters and they were still nice to me. A couple of brothers came up to me and I ended up saying I would check it out if I had a chance, which means I had to do what I said I would do because I said I would do it. So I ended up going again. Next thing you know, I noticed that they show love. And from there, I started going more. I can tell it. I can tell the love too. I can tell it that I can sense the love and I can tell it's genuine because I have the same thing myself. So, and I started going and now I still go. This Sunday I should get a ride. I should be at the right chapel. And I should not have to walk all the way there and back in my long pants. We'll see if hopefully that's the truth. No pressure, but I would like that. I did show my initiative. I showed that I would walk all the way to church and all the way home and not even know a soul. I knew nobody at that meeting, but I stayed for Jesus. I didn't just jet. I'm out of here. I'm too cool for school. I didn't do that. I just stayed and gave him I sat by myself, 3 rows from the back on the aisle. 3rd row from the back on the aisle. Right-hand side. All alone the whole time. Walked there, walked back. So nice if I didn't have to do that every week, but we'll see what happens. And so it's going to be shower time, so I'm going to have some downtime in my channel because I'm going to be showering, and then when my hair gets wet, I like to dry it. I like to let my hair dry. Sometimes I don't do videos while it's drying. I have to be combing it the whole time, and you guys see me combing it and then blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'll just, maybe I'll get in the shower in a minute and then I'll get back to you guys after my hair dries at the minimum, maybe this morning, later, like when I start my walk. If I even go, I hope I go on a walk. I went on like a short walk today, longer than yesterday. So hopefully today the weather's good and I can go on a longer walk than that. I'd like to go on a full walk. Otherwise I feel like I'm not doing my routine and gypping myself somehow. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.